Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loads 15, and in this video we'll be previewing all the action ahead of day 4 of Royal Ascot. Before we get stuck into those selections, just want to reflect on how today's runners ran. In the end we had our first winner of the meeting, hallelujah. It was Stradivarius in the Ascot Gold Cup. Only just got up however, but it was a really impressive performance for Frankie Dettori and John Gosden, in which is normally considered the feature of the whole Royal meeting. And it was definitely a terrific race. You had the French Raider as well, Order of St George, Torsador, they were all there, all the market principles, and in the end it was a very thrilling contest. But our selection got up, managed to tip him up last night at 9-4, got a bit of value there as he was quite well supported, and he was a joint favourite in the end at 7-4, so got on the right price in the end there. Our other selection that did okay for us today was Occupy, finished in 5th place. Tipped it up each way at 25-1 last night for Harry Bentley and Rafe Beckett. Now, even though, yes, it didn't finish in the top 4 like it should do in a handicap of that size, obviously, because it's Royal Ascot, there's loads of multiple places going around. They're paying 5 places with quite a few bookmakers, and Occupy finished 5th. Was hampered a couple of times and never got maybe the luck in running it deserved, but it was still a valiant effort for the Highclere Thoroughbred racing partnership, and in the end, that wasn't a bad performance there. We're a little bit unlucky with Rumble in the Jungle in 4th place. Just probably got a little bit tired at the end with the other horses chasing it home and just couldn't hang on for the each way there. Also as well, we had a bit of other disappointment with Perfect Clarity. I thought that was quite disappointing. And also as well, it was one of those days really where a lot of the horses that you might have written off, especially like the likes of Hunting Horn, came back and won today and caused a little bit of surprise. But Hunting Horn, he was quite well fancied by a few people. It's kind of some of those races have been where the horses that have been running in the likes of the Derby and the Oaks, they're not quite good enough for that level, and they drop down kind of a grade. They come to Royal Ascot, and often or not, they often do turn up, but you're always probably trying to take them on with what could be the improvers, the unexposed types. Are they good enough to beat these horses? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but in the end, I think a few people out there would have had a good day today. There were some people that definitely had a good day. It was probably half and half. The bookmakers probably suffered a little bit, but then again, with races like the Britannia, races like that, they're always going to claw it back. So it was probably just about 50-50 in the end, bookmakers versus the punters. But we go on for tomorrow, and hopefully we can build on our winning day today. So for the first selection, we go to the Albany, the first race of the day in the 2:30. Now, a horse I really like here is a horse called Fairyland. Now, this one is trained by Aidan O'Brien, and Shamie Heffernan is booked for the ride. A lot of people will be concerned because obviously Ryan Moore isn't aboard, but I'm not worried at all there. I sometimes think more often, or not really, I think Ryan Moore often gets a lot of the selections wrong when it comes to the Ballydoyle horses. Just thinks of the likes of Wings of Eagles, springs to mind. Also as well, Forever Together. Yes, you will often get them right, but I just think sometimes it's always worth looking at when there's a few decent horses. Is he definitely on the right one? But I think Fairyland is the best of the bunch tomorrow. Shamie Heffernan won on this horse last time in a listed race at Navan against some decent colts, and that was a very commanding performance that day. Also as well, it won very nicely on its debut. It's never really been the favourite in any of those races, but nonetheless seems like a top quality horse, and it's 7-2. Best odds out there I've seen with bookmakers, and I wouldn't be surprised if this one could get us off to a winning start. I was always interested to see where this horse was going to end up. It was one of my favourite horses for the Royal Ascot meet, and you might remember I actually tipped it up at that listed race at the Curragh, so it's always been in my thoughts, and I thought tomorrow this is the one you had to be with. We then go to the 305, the King Edward VII Stakes, or otherwise known as the Ascot Derby by some people. Now, a horse I quite liked here, I'm going to be going away from the Ryan Moore horse again, is Giuseppe Garibaldi. I was not probably quite impressed with Delano Roosevelt, and again, we're kind of in that same situation here. Is it the class horses of the groups dropping down slightly, or is it the up-and-coming improvers? But Giuseppe Garibaldi's been running really well. He's won his last 2 starts, and he's really come on really for the switching ground. He'd been running on softish ground over in Ireland, and I don't think that was his forte. I think the drying ground is definitely a help to him, and he's won the last couple of times very impressively, going up in trip as well. We know he stays. Shamey Heffernan is booked for the ride again, and I thought tomorrow this horse was definitely a bit of each way value in the race, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe punters really latched onto this horse tomorrow, maybe went off at maybe something like 5-1, 9-2. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it is really well backed throughout the day, and it'd be interesting to see what it goes off as. But for me, that's going to be the selection in the King Edward VII. We then go to the 340 here with the Commonwealth Cup. Now, I thought this was a bit more of a wide open race than the kind of first thoughts appear, because there's one price in here that I think has got a massive chance. There'll be multiple bookmakers as well playing multiple places, and I like the look of a horse here called Enjazaat, which is a 40-1 shot. It's trained by Owen Burrows, and Dane O'Neill is booked for the ride, part of the Godolphin operation. Now, last time we saw this horse, it finished third behind Invincible Army of James Tate, who it's going to reoppose again tomorrow. Now, this horse made its seasonal reappearance last time on soft ground, and I don't think it particularly liked that soft ground. As a 2-year-old, it did pretty good. It won 2 races, and one of those victories came in a listed race at Ripon, where it beat the second horse in the 2000 Guineas this year, Tip to Win, and it also beat a fairly decent horse of Mark Johnson's called Lake Volta in commanding style. Now, that horse kind of went off the rails then. It's had 2 wind-ups since then, and I thought it needed the run last time. It's done well at the track before, and I thought with the drying conditions tomorrow, at 40-1, this one maybe could be well backed, and he could be maybe one of the each way horses in the race tomorrow. And I thought maybe at 40-1, what's to stop him maybe running in the frame and causing a little bit of an upset? I thought it was quite a wide open race. Yes, there's Invincible Army, Sands of Marley. There's also a few other horses that we're probably forgetting here, but I thought this horse was a really interesting candidate, especially with what he did last time out, running a credible race, staying on strongly at the end. So that's going to be my selection there. We then go to the 420. Now, this horse, again, that I'm going for is a bit of an improving sorts, and it's a horse called Veracious. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's around about 8-1 with bookmakers at the moment. It's trained by Sir Michael Stout and Frankie Dettori's booked for the ride. Both have had a good Royal Ascot so far. Well, this horse is very lightly raced, only 2 starts in its career so far. Third the first time out, where it ran not too badly that day. It was really well backed behind an Eve Johnson Horton horse called Last Enchantment, who subsequently had not a bad career so far, winning a listed race over at Goodwood. I seem to remember when I was there that day last month. But this horse won last year in really good style at Newmarket, winning very commandingly and impressively with Ryan Moore aboard, and it beat a horse that went up to Dubai in the winter and had a really good season. I think it's called Winter Lightning of Saeed bin Sarur, but it bolted up that day, and it's interesting that they haven't raced it at all this season. It's by Frankel. It's got a pedigree as well that definitely loves Ascot. It's a half sister to Mutakayev, who we tipped up last year in the Queen Anne when he finished second, and also he won at the course last year. He was a very useful horse for Godolphin. Also as well, the dam of this horse finished second in this race in its career, so it's bred to love Ascot. Frankel as well obviously won a couple of times at Royal Ascot, who its sire. So I thought this horse tomorrow had a really good chance, and it's in the colours of Cheveley Parkside, who are yet to have a winner at the Royal Meeting, but always follow their horses, and I thought this horse had a really good chance tomorrow. We then go to the 5 o'clock in the Sandringham. We're going with a horse here called Fede, or Fede, I hope it's something like that. It's 14-1 bookmakers at the moment, trained by Rafe Beckett, whose horses, like we touched on in our vlog yesterday, haven't had the best of time this season, but they're starting to run into a little bit of form. Richard Kingscote, handy jockey booking, booked for the ride. This horse finished third last time, 2 starts ago, at Ascot, where it ran behind Tribute Act, and also as well Urban Fox, who ran really well in the Duke of Cambridgeshire Stakes the other day. So that form's been boosted, and Fede on her last start won a conditional race at Leicester in good style. And I thought 14-1 tomorrow, this horse could maybe make the frame at an each way price. Again, there'll be multiple bookmakers playing multiple places, and I thought De Fede could be a good each way one tomorrow. To end off the day, we go with a horse here called Appeared. It's 11-1 bookmakers at the moment. Very likely racehorse, trained by Roger Varian. Andrea Zaney is booked for the ride, 6 years old, but like we said, it's very likely raced. Finished second in this race last year in good style. And I thought tomorrow this horse had again a good chance of making the frame. It's 11-1 bookmakers at the moment. This horse won on its reappearance last year, which was at Ascot. We know it likes to track, it'll handle the conditions. We know it's run well before at the Royal Meeting. And again, I thought in quite a wide open race, he could give us a run for our money. So he's going to be the last selection there in the Duke of Edinburgh. So that's all I got to say. Please subscribe to the channel here at LuckyLoads15 for more horse racing videos. Also as well, you can check me out on Twitter at LuckyLoads15. Also as well, let us know your thoughts about tomorrow's racing in the comments box below. So that's all I got to say. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.